Markets already move on Truth Social posts. That is not a critic, that is not a senator, and it is not us. That is the company, in the first line of its own press release. And it is the reason it started selling a feed of those posts. We've signed more than 10 customer agreements to date, primarily high-frequency trading firms, at rates generally in the range of $60,000 to $100,000 a month. $60,000 to $100,000 a month. The company is Trump Media and Technology Group. The man who owns the largest stake in it is the President of the United States, and the posts being sold are his. On the 16th of July, 2026, Trump Media announced a product called Truth API. It is a data feed. For a monthly fee, it delivers posts from the highest-ranking Truth Social accounts, in the company's words, in milliseconds. The announcement is unusually direct about who it is for. Truth API is designed for organizations most impacted by the cost of a delay in information. This includes high-frequency and algorithmic trading firms. And about what the company gets out of it. This is the interim chief executive, Kevin McGurn, in the same release. Truth API delivers a direct, licensed, real-time feed of the platform's most market-moving truths while advancing our strategy to monetize proprietary assets through a high-margin, recurring revenue stream. The platform's most market-moving truths. Monetize proprietary assets. Those are the company's words for what is being sold and for why. So, what is in the feed? The president uses Truth Social to announce and discuss decisions on tariffs, on foreign policy, on energy, and on individual companies by name. On the 10th of June, 2026, at 9:30 in the morning, as the market opened, this was posted from his account. Wow! Citi was ranked number 1 in topping M&A advisory market by value in Q1. Congratulations to Jane F. and all of her great people. They've worked really hard. Big comeback for Citi. President Donald J. Trump. We're not going to tell you what the share price did next. We did not measure it, so we're not going to claim it. We do not have to. The company already made that argument for us in writing to sell the product. Markets already move on Truth Social posts. 2 months earlier, he had named another company by its stock ticker. Palantir Technologies, PLTR, has proven to have great war-fighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies. President DJT. And it is not only companies. In March, he posted about crypto legislation and about the banks opposing it. The Genius Act is being threatened and undermined by the banks, and that is unacceptable. We are not going to allow it. The U.S. needs to get market structure done ASAP. Tariffs, energy policy, legislation, companies by name and by ticker. That is what is in the feed. Here's where it gets interesting, and it needs nothing from us but 2 documents side by side. In July, announcing the product to the press, the company called the feed the platform's most market-moving truths. In August, describing the same product to its own investors in a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, it called it low-latency access to publicly available posts from certain top Truth Social accounts. Same product, 25 days apart. Market moving, when the buyer is being sold something. Publicly available, when the reader is the commission. Trump Media's own annual report answers this, and we will use its wording rather than anybody else's. Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust dated April 7th, 2014, of which President Donald J. Trump is the sole beneficiary, beneficially owns approximately 41.1% of the voting power of the outstanding TMTG common stock. Roughly 41% of the voting power held by a trust, of which the president is the sole beneficiary. That figure is the company's own. Other numbers have circulated. The lawsuit filed this month says 41.43. We are using the one the company filed itself. In January 2025, 3 days before he took office, a coin went on sale carrying his name and his face, announced from his own accounts. A second one carrying the First Lady's name went on sale the day before the inauguration. The site's own terms said 80% of it was held by an affiliate of the Trump Organization and a company called Fight, 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 and that those companies would receive the trading revenue from the trading. The same page carried this disclaimer: not intended to be or to be the subject of an investment opportunity, investment contract, or security of any type. GetTrumpMemes.com is not political and has nothing to do with any political campaign or any political office or governmental agency. The page it sat on was headed Trump, the crypto president. A congressman and senator wrote to 4 agencies about those coins. One answered. The government's own ethics office replied on the 7th of February 2025 to say that Congress had left no doubt the main conflict of interest law does not apply to the president. 4 days after the announcement, 11 days before the feed went live, Congressman Richie Torres wrote to the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. There is a fundamental difference between a social media platform licensing ordinary data and a company substantially owned by the sitting president selling sophisticated traders faster access to his market-moving policy announcements. 8 days later, on the 28th of July, 2 senators asked the commission the same thing: open an investigation and answer before the 1st of August. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Adam Schiff, SEC Chairman Paul Atkins. The Securities and Exchange Commission confirmed to Reuters that it had received a letter and declined to comment further. It declined to comment on the congressman's letter too. Truth API launched on schedule on the 1st of August. On the 3rd of August, 2 days after it went live, a bill was introduced in the Senate to prohibit exactly this. The company has answered this on the record, and it gets to be heard properly. Trump Media told the commission it is continuing to sign customers despite receiving what it believes to be factually inaccurate criticism of Truth API. Asked about it directly on its earnings call, McGurn said this: the criticism is misinformed. Truth API provides machine-readable feeds of publicly available truth posts from the platform's top accounts in milliseconds. Our customers will get published and publicly available posts fractionally faster. Providing licensed, real-time public data through commercial APIs is a well-established business practice across the technology, financial information, and media industries. This is no different. And he added that the decision was the company's. These decisions, like all our operating decisions, are made by the company management and the board. That last point is worth sitting with because it is the strongest thing the company says. Selling licensed data is an ordinary business. Reuters does it. Bloomberg does it. The exchanges do it. And here is what has not happened. No regulator has made any finding about Truth API. No agency has announced an investigation. nobody has been charged with anything. On the 12th of August, The Intercept and the Freedom of the Press Foundation filed a lawsuit against the president, 2 White House aides, and 2 White House offices. Trump Media is not a defendant. It was assigned to a judge 2 days ago. Nothing has been argued. Nothing has been decided. We are not going to tell you how it comes out. Strip all of it away, and what is left is not an allegation. It is a set of documents, and almost all of them are the company's own. A company announced that markets move on the president's posts. It built a product to deliver those posts to high-frequency trading firms faster than to everybody else. It priced it at $60,000 to $100,000 a month and told its investors so. The president is the sole beneficiary of the trust that holds roughly 41% of the voting power in that company. None of that is contested. All of it is filed. The only question anyone is actually arguing about is whether it is allowed. And on that, so far, the record says one thing only. 2 members of Congress asked, and the agency that could answer has not said anything in public. Documenting the zeros in Worldly Heroes. Sources for every document in this film are in the description, with archived copies. If we get something wrong, we correct it on the record. Dorian Russell, D. Booma.